Okay, we are now recording, so you can just start it, and then we'll cut out this part of it.
Okay. So hello, everybody. This is Kelly and Anna Schwartz from Schwartz Consulting Group. We have the pleasure today of a one-on-one interview with CEO, a good friend of mine, Weston Lunsford, CEO of Dental Intel as well as Local Med. Weston and I and his awesome team at DI have been trying to help us and help you navigate your way through these uncertain, challenging times. And I know from 27 years of being in dentistry that without Dental Intel, it would be a lot more challenging. They've given us some great tools to work with. We know who our patients are, how to get them back on the books. You know, we've been talking about how to create follow-ups for scheduling, for hygiene, how to create follow-ups for operative, picking the right patients with Patient Finder. But Weston is also offering us Local Med, which gives us new ways to schedule patients directly from within Dental Intel onto our books by clicking a link, sending it directly to the patient, and they have the choice to do some online scheduling. We are going to have a webinar posted on that after tomorrow as well, or if you're watching this after today, it'll be from Wednesday. But either way, we're going to have this great tool thanks to our partner, Weston Lunsford. So I asked Weston to just jump on and give us some of his wisdom of what he's seeing. Weston, how many DI clients are there nationwide?
Just over 8,000 now.
So Weston has his hands on the pulse of thousands and 8,000 patient practices nationwide, really knows what's going on out there. And I asked him just to share some insight and knowledge with us of what you're seeing and really how you see us recovering through this, Weston, and what you're feeling and what you're doing as a company to rally your troops. You've got hundreds of employees. Many of our doctors have 5, 10, 15. So I'm going to turn it to you and let us just share what you see is going on and what you think we can do.
Yeah, well, if I can, I'll share a little bit less data on this chat together, and just a little bit more principle focused things that we're doing as a company that I think would cross over to dental practices. And this, first of all, this is tough, right? This is a tough time. I think, Kelly, you probably have experienced some roller coaster moments of being completely terrified and then very optimistic, and it goes up and down, and it really kind of depends on what you read. Or what you hear on the news, and it's hard to make sure that we separate ourselves from all of that noise. We still need to be aware of it. We still need to hear it, but we got to separate ourselves from that and remember that we're also a leader. And as doctors in the community, you're healthcare providers. And we need to remember that ultimately we got to get back to taking care of our patients that are out there. Last Tuesday for me and for many of us, and maybe I'm a little bit different on how I look at this, but it was March 31st. So this was the end of the quarter for dental intelligence. We closed the books on that first quarter of 2020, and it was forecasted to be hands down the best quarter for our company ever in all of history. And it was one of the worst quarters we've ever experienced, and only because of the last 2 to 3 weeks of the month of March. We know that second quarter, the quarter that we're in right now, is going to be even more difficult as this pandemic continues to evolve, but we're confident that we're going to get through it, and by sticking together. We have some shared core values here at Dental Intel that every one of our team members really take extreme ownership of. And I know, Kelly, you've been in my office building before, and you've seen these values hanging up on the wall. I'm in several of our team members' offices, but loyalty, integrity, perseverance, goal focus, innovative, and really focusing on work-life balance. These values to us as a company are more important now than they ever have been before. And we recognize as an organization that we owe it to each other, to ourselves, and to the community of dentistry that we serve, to ensure that we fully internalize our core values and our mission. And our mission has always been to help practices do more and better dentistry. And that's so critical to us at this moment. One of the things that I think is probably most important for any business owner out there right now is, if you haven't defined what your values are for you and for your team members. And by the way, when you think about a core value, it's it's got to be something that you're willing to give up anything else to hold true, to maintain, to keep, or it's not really a core value. Meaning you would forego any profits, you would forego any quality of life at the practice to maintain this core value. And once you're able to define those and you operate by those, and then you define what your mission is, and you get your entire team bought into that purpose-driven mission, you guys can do some incredible things. I've watched my company do 180 pivot in the last 3 weeks. Now, that doesn't mean we're generating more revenue, because we're absolutely not. In fact, every single day, we're seeing a reduction and a reduction and reduction of revenue. But I think in the last 3 weeks, we've onboarded more than 569, if I recall correctly from my morning huddle meeting. 569 new practices across the country that are starting to utilize our preferred patient list, starting to utilize this online scheduling that you referred to right now, and starting to utilize follow-ups in a different, more meaningful way of dealing and interacting with patients today. And we've loved that, but we've had to do 180 shift both on our product engineering team, and we've also had to do 180 shift with our account executives and our sales team and our support team. They're all fulfilling different parts and roles right now. And so as a business owner, all of us need to ask, what can we do differently right now? What can I change right now to make sure that we're really setting ourselves up to operate in the most efficient, most productive manner possible post-pandemic? You probably saw, Kelly, the ADA put out a new update on their website as far as when they're feeling some of the restrictions are going to be reduced. And restrictions that we're placing on dental practices stay in place all the way through April 30th. So come May, and Dental Intelligence is tracking by state, which I have on our website too, but we're tracking by state what the state itself is asking and what the State Dental Association is asking in regards to the dental practices as far as restrictions. And most of them are showing estimated open times come in May. Now, I realize that that may or may not come to fruition. It might not. But we need to plan for those dates, and we need to prepare ourselves to opening for those dates. We need to make sure that we reduce any potential high-risk patients from coming into our chairs right now, because the last thing I want, I've said this before with you, and maybe I don't know if we've been on a video screen or if it's just us talking, but it's worth saying again. I know that you share the same sentiment because we've had these conversations, Kelly, but our commitment to the physical and emotional health of our customers, our clients, and our patients is the #1 priority. And I would imagine dentists being a healthcare provider, that's their #1 priority too. That's right. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And we're encouraging more than anything to communicate via social media, email, texting with their patients. Let them know we're here for you.
Yeah. Let them know that you're there, but also ensure that when you open back up that you're prioritizing patients, not just for who needs the most amount of health care, but also reducing the exposure of patients that are at high risk for a period of time. Meaning if they're at certain age limits, you probably don't want them to come in your practice at first unless you've really prepared yourself to ensure 100% sanitization and including in the air.
One of the things that we're talking a lot about, Weston, is
for using aerosol.
Yeah, one of the things we're talking a lot is, looking at your schedule of who's on the books now and who really needs dentistry versus who wants dentistry from the standpoint of risk and care, right? And so in the event that we open up but then have to shut down, we don't have patients coming back because they have toothaches or end up in the hospital. So we're talking about picking the right patients as well.
Yeah, and so this is where these lists that we've created, and whether you like our preferred list that we've created on the COVID-19 or not, or you want to go create your own in the Patient Finder application in Dental Intelligence, they are critical for you to identify who these patients are that you should be getting on the phone with right now, having conversation with right now. Those that need the care are going to be those that are most appreciative of a phone call from you, and also the ones that win for your practice when you come back. And let's be honest, while we're concerned about the health of our patients and our team members, we also need to be concerned about the health of our practice. And so we've got to make sure that we're prioritizing our patients to get the right patients in that's going to give us the fastest recovery rate possible.
So that kind of brings me to a point, Weston. You know, I know a small fraction of the 8,000 clients that you have coaches, and a small fraction that do. And you've put together the COVID-19 list, which I think is great because a lot of offices really don't know how to use dental intel to its full ability. And our clients, I like to think, have a higher level. What I love most about that is the ability to have follow-ups, be it your list, a self-created list. But you talked about this from a business standpoint. This is me talking to you, my friend. And I know you've got a lot of practices that have shut DI off. And I think that's a big mistake. From where I'm coming from as a coach, I don't benefit financially from them using DI. I use DI as a tool. You as a company have a vested interest, but I want to ask this. I'm talking to all my clients about not turning off DI. The small investment they make in that right now can be recuperated the day or two before they even open up by having those lists and being able to communicate with their patients immediately, effectively, and make better choices. You don't want to get a slow roll. So I'm really encouraging my clients to not turn D off, not for any other reason than for their benefit. But what's your thought about that? Because I know you're willing to save cost, and I think the majority of the people who are turning dental intel off just don't know any better.
Well, the industry's scared. And so I think the first response, the first 2 weeks was just a fight or flight reaction, right? I mean, that's human being in us. We're either going to fight or we're going to flight. And sometimes we make irrational decisions. We just make a decision immediately. There's some people out there, and I get it. I've bought, I don't know how many treadmills in my life, and I hate running. And I still have 2 of them in my house. And I'll still never get on those treadmills, even though I update treadmills every once in a while. I'll always get on my bike, but I won't get on a treadmill. And so
I have one you could have.
There are people out there that have purchased our solution, purchased consulting, purchased any form of solution, and they haven't really committed themselves to it. I don't right now, I would agree 100% with you. There is no better tool out there to help you prioritize and analyze the opportunities in your practice than dental intelligence at this moment. And I'm not just trying to sell my product because
no, this is me.
I know that I would give this away free for people right now to be able to make sure that they have a good plan for when they open their doors. But absolutely, it is critical to have some form of tools or resources in your hand that helps you analyze what your first week, month, and quarter should look like post-COVID-19 so that you can set that practice up for the highest opportunity of success. And dental intelligence is built for that.
And I want to thank you on behalf of myself and my clients because you're making our jobs easier, but all our dental offices, the fact that you've offered, if they already have DI, to have local med for free until June, that's a huge give. I know it would normally cost, $1,000 or something to install and then a monthly fee. The fact that you're giving that way just kind of goes back to what I know DI's core values are, to help more people get better care. And for all of my clients, that alone is one of the reasons I don't want you to turn it off, just because of the value this is going to add to your practice when we get back up. It's going to be a new tool we're teaching on how to utilize. And guys, Weston and I are both about planning, and you've heard the old cliche, fail to plan, plan to fail.
Yeah.
This is where we're going to, although none of us know a date, we all know how important it is to have these tools ready and in the mix, if you will, to go. I look at it like this, Weston. DI is sitting on my shelf doing nothing, but it's there, as opposed to not having enough masks when you reopen. If you got to order masks now, you're kind of in trouble. You need some on your shelves. DI is going to be that tool that's already in your tool belt to go to work as soon as you get back.
Well, and it's not just the online scheduling we want. You probably have seen, or you will see here shortly, Kelly, for all your clients that utilize dental intelligence too. And it's got to be someone that uses DI or is part of the DI family. But we've also
Sorry, you cut out, Wes.
Communications, who's owned by LogMeIn now. I'm sorry, we just worked out a deal with LogMeIn, who owns Jive Communications, to get anyone who is a dental intelligence customer their Connect solution, which is free VoIP phones in their practice for 3 months.
Wow.
Including all of the hardware, so they can put new hardware in their offices. They're not going to have to pay for any phone services. They have their HIPAA virtual compliant telemed service available, so that they can actually be on like us. They can do team chat just like us. And so it's the full VoIP solution with team chat, video conferencing, and phones. And it's going to come with our call insights too, which is the smart caller ID. So when a patient does call, even if you're at your home, you'll see pop up on the screen all of the patient information and all those patient records for you. And so,
is this something you're geared up to do now, or is this going to be closer to when we get back to normal?
No, we're doing it now. So it comes out on Monday. So you'll see some stuff coming out on Monday. But anyone that is using, and you're probably one of the first consulting firms that I'm disclosing this to right now. But any one of your clients that are utilizing dental intelligence is able to get that service that they're wanting to. So, I mean, most people are probably paying, I don't know, $300 to $400 for phone service. Even after the 3 months, I'm pretty sure that LogMeIn is only going to be charging around $17 per phone. I believe that's the price. Again, that document will come out here shortly, but we are constantly $17 per user. So if you have 10 phones, that's $170 a month for phones. That's VoIP with smart caller ID. I mean, that's insane. That's one thing that I think is a blessing right now. This COVID-19 is there are deals going on unlike nothing before. There's no better time to secure. You know, I've learned a concept of when the market falls, a lot of people start pulling their cash out. I don't know what you've done, Kelly, but I've gone and bought a bunch of stock. And I mean a lot in the last couple of weeks. It's time to double down now. This isn't time to give up on solutions. It's time to not necessarily ask for a hand out, but I like to view it as a hand up, which if you visualize that for just a second, this hand up concept, it requires the one who is down to extend his hand upward, and the one who is up to extend his hand downward, the two to grasp each other and then to pull together. This isn't a handout where you're just extending some material or some supplies or something that you're handing someone. This is reaching out saying, I'm willing to work with you. And I know that clients, that's what dental intelligence is committed to doing for this industry. Our customers are first and number one priority, but the community is right behind that. And we're doing everything we can to continue to lift. And so I appreciate you. You've also carried what I call this DI spirit, and you always have. And I know it's the Schwartz spirit, but I'm just going to bring you into our family for just a minute, because this spirit comes across both in our team from you and in the communities that we serve during this crisis. And I'm impressed, Kelly, by your willingness to continue to give this hand up to your clients too. And I've watched you do this, and I think it's during these times where we're able to see the true colors of people and how they respond. And the way that you've responded to your clients and to this community has been impressive to watch. So thank you, and we're honored to be part of your organization.
Well, I really appreciate it. One of the things I see very different with you, Weston, as a CEO, you know, not too many people as a coach have the access to a CEO of a company like you. I appreciate our friendship and our relationship in that regards. And I always looked at you guys like a partner, not a vendor. You know, I feel like the DI's family, you know, Curtis, Katie, Kelly, Jerome, everybody just, you know, they treat me like family and like I am part of it, and I appreciate it. So one of the questions I know I'm going to, you know, kind of bounce back real quick. With the new phone system, Weston, they all get to keep their same phone numbers?
Yeah, we'll transfer their phone numbers over. Really, this isn't necessarily DI. We just, Jive is, if I showed you, they're across the street over here.
Okay.
We live in the second probably biggest tech capital of the world here. They call it Silicon Slopes, not Silicon Valley, but Silicon Slopes. So there's a lot of large tech companies here, and Jive Communications is one of them. And so we're good friends with those guys over there, and we asked them if they could help this industry. I expressed to them what was going on in the dental industry, and big the impact is to this community. And I asked if they would be willing to help us out. And they responded very quickly and said, absolutely, we'll jump in and follow your suit here. And there's other companies we're working with right now to do similar things, including some labs. And so hopefully we'll have some news come out with some large labs that are in business that also are suffering. But I think that we're in a community where everyone wants to lift one another right now.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing every time we ask, people are just stepping up, and man, it's been inspiring. And it feels good, even though we're not making money. It feels good to serve, right? And I'd much rather go out there and serve and not make money than just sit idle and not make money. So as long as I have the stamina to keep going, we're going to continue serving. And I know that's your mantra too. So
yeah, Anna and I, the best part of our day, and she's busy helping a client on the phone in the other room right now, but best part of our day is doing these little webinars and things like this that we can get out to help our clients, because we want to stay connected. Our clients are our friends, and anybody who's watching this knows Anna and I, they know that's where our heart really is. And we miss being in the office and training the teams and having that interaction, but we do want to stay connected. And when this all gets back together, we're going to have a good time. I've been encouraging all my clients.
Have you talked to your clients, Kelly, about the CARES Act and getting the payroll loan?
Yes, we have. We've had a couple experts on that.
Okay.
We've had some HR experts. So I've brought Bob Spiel on once to talk as well.
People need to act fast. That money's not going to last forever. And so I mean, there's no reason to not do that. And even if for some reason you did something that doesn't allow it to be forgiven, who cares? The interest rate is insanely low. And I think less than 1% now, somewhere between 4 or less. And I think the stuff's trying to be determined out, but it's over 30 years. Most likely, if you use it for the payroll intentions and the purpose there and your rent, then it's going to be 100% forgiven and a grant. But make sure you take advantage of that and do it quickly. If you haven't already done it, go call your banker right now. Just call your bank, get on the phone with them and say, I need to go through this process. They're probably crazy busy right now, but you need to get them busy on you.
Yeah, the biggest frustration everybody's have is getting hold of somebody with answers,
They need to work with the bigger bank. I know that Bank of America is doing a phenomenal job. Wells Fargo is doing a phenomenal job. So if they Lendio is another one that I hear is turning. You don't even have to bank with Lendio, but they've been turning things around within 48 hours. Zions Corporation and Bank Corporation are other banks that are doing a really good job with this. We've already got our application in, and I know that we'll be getting funds here within the next few weeks, start a few days. It took us a few weeks to go through the whole process with them, but they didn't open up applications until Friday of last week, but now we're submitted. And so in the next few days, I know Dental Intelligence will have our funds coming from the government, but you've just got to keep pushing and work with banks that know what they're doing. If you're not sure if your bank can do it, or they're giving you the spin around because they don't have it figured out yet, I just quickly go online and set up a bank account with Bank of America. Just become one of their customers, even if it's a small account, and go get an application submitted with those guys. So there's ways around it, but don't sit idle. Go to work, get it done. I know a lot of dental practices are probably working with smaller banks throughout the communities, and sometimes those smaller banks have a hard time figuring out what the processes are that they need to do to get these applications processed. But these bigger banks that are likely in your communities too, or you can get online presence with them, you can go get an account set up, transfer some money there, and immediately go through that.
Okay. Well, I know you're extremely busy. You probably got 5 more things to do before 9 o'clock tonight. Any closing thoughts for the rest of our DI family that's behind Schwartz Consulting Group and DI?
Well, the one thing that I would just make sure that I'm encouraging all of your clients to do is make sure that you put together a plan, even if you're not starting that plan today, depending on what state you're in, depending on how much time you have. But 2 to 3 weeks before you open, you need to have a clear picture of what your schedule is going to look like. I can't emphasize that enough. And if you're just leaving your hygiene scheduled the way it was scheduled before and you haven't broken those appointments, I'm telling you all right now, they're the wrong patients in your chair. You might by chance have one. I was just on the phone looking at a practice with a doctor just 2 days ago, and we looked at all the hygiene production pre-pandemic in a day, and there was some patients that came in that were paying up to $279 for that visit, some that were paying $120 for that. Not all hygiene patients are equal. Focus on the higher dollar production hygiene patients. They're critical to the success of recovery. And the reality is they're the patients that need the most care too. So it's a win for your community, for your patients, and it's a win for your practice. And that's big, but you need to use the tools that you're given to go find those patients, and dental intelligence applications can help you find those. And if you get on the online scheduling, which we're not charging you for at all right now, just get it. Right. You can begin sending out that message to them via text to say, hey, I'm opening up my schedule for my priority patients, and you're one of them before we're too full and I can't see you this year. So
yeah, I want to make sure everybody hears too. When Weston and I talk about the patients with the higher value, it's really the patients that have the higher care. The value is the end result. So a patient needing work versus a patient not needing work, they're both equally important. But the patient who needs more work has a greater chance of having a problem we want to help you prevent. So, Weston, again, I cannot thank you enough for your time, your support, and everything you do for the dental community. And, we're praying for you as well, my friend, that you and your company continue to be able to help others. We need you here to continue to help us.
Well, we need you too. So this whole community is in our prayers, but Kelly, your company's name is specifically listed, but we are praying for you guys too. I definitely think we need our Lord's hand in all of this, but any of you guys that may be suffering, or your family members that may be suffering either through friends or families, you're also in our prayers. We love you. We will get through this though. Together we'll get through this. Just remember, be a beacon of light and hope to the communities and to your friends, to your neighbors, and to your colleagues in the dental community. Be the voice of reason and hope, not the one that's about doom and gloom, and you'll be able to lift and guide others. So thanks for everything you're doing. Appreciate it.
So on a lighter note, the clients that are watching are probably in total shock, because what do you notice different about me than you probably never see? I am wearing a jacket and shirt for you, Weston. I don't wear a jacket when I go in. I'm a polo. I'm normally wearing what you have on. So when I get the CEO of the company in, Anna's like, you're not wearing that polo shirt, are you? And I'm like, no, I'll wear a jacket. I don't even wear that going to the office. So it's an honor to have you.
I didn't even shave. I haven't shaved since COVID-19 either. I'm getting gray. I'm realizing.
Oh, Anna made me shave. She even trimmed my hair and throw the jacket on. So anyway, thank you very much, Weston. Appreciate it.
We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, everyone.